Hello and welcome to another Smaulgld episode. This one on gold. Is gold an asset, an investment, insurance, or money? Many gold bugs believe that gold is money. That is a statement that is made. It is made with certainty and often defiance. And the definition of money for people who like to track exact words and to fit gold within that definition will provide you with: it is durable, it is divisible, meaning you can break gold into smaller parts, durable in that it lasts a long time, doesn't tarnish. Same gold, much of the gold that people have today was held by people thousands of years ago. It's just been recycled and recast. It's durable, it's divisible, it's portable. I mean, certain you can carry gold around with you in small amounts and it's worth a lot of money. It's worth a lot. It's fungible, meaning one piece of gold, the same fineness, is no different than another piece of gold. It can all be remelted, recast into identical pieces of gold with the identical sizes and shapes. It's a store of value that's been proven over thousands of years. And it is a unit of account, which means it can be used as a medium of exchange. Well, gold certainly has all the properties of money, but currently it is not money. It could be money, but it is not a unit of account. People do not hold gold for purposes of making transactions. Now let's put gold money aside. There you could say that the gold money system that has a digitization of gold that you hold that you can then spend, that you could say is money. But gold bullion coins are not money. For example, if they were money and people were going to use them, the American Silver Eagle, 1 ounce American Gold Eagle, says $50 on it. People don't trade those and use those as $50 gold pieces. They're worth about $1,200 as of January 2017. And people don't trade them generally for $1,200 either for goods and services. So while gold is durable, divisible, portable, fungible, store of value, it can be and has been a unit of account. The United States used to have a gold coin circulating, so did other countries. But currently, no country circulates gold as money. And so for that reason, my view is when people insist gold is money, I say could be, maybe even say should be, but it's not. Okay, so that's my view on money. When I vote on the poll, I don't vote that gold is primarily money. I agree that it meets all the requirements, other than it does not currently meet the last one, and that's due to government preferences, government fiat, that they say that they're going to issue currencies and that's what people are to use as a unit of account, not gold. So, gold as insurance. Well, this one I think gold is insurance, but I don't necessarily vote for gold as insurance. But there's a strong argument that gold is insurance, and I like to use the example of Brexit. For people holding British pounds or British assets denominated in British pounds, they knew early last year that Brexit was a possibility. They thought it was unlikely, but they knew about it. And yet they carried on as if there was no risk to their assets. So they discounted the risk, and when Brexit happened, the pound collapsed. Well, the pound collapsing meant that people who owned British pounds or assets denominated in British pounds, they lost the value of the purchasing power and the value of their assets. Now gold, however, against the British pound, you can see from this chart, rose dramatically versus the pound, meaning that as the pound dropped, gold went higher. So gold served as insurance. It could have been purchased in advance at a lower price per pound before Brexit. And then after Brexit, the insurance got more expensive. And if you already had your insurance, you had protected yourself in your purchasing power when the pound dropped from about $1.50 to $1.20. And if you had then take your gold and transfer it into, not use it as money, but transfer it into pounds, you could make your purchases and there really would be no issue in the change of your purchasing power. So gold clearly can act as insurance. Now, some people, they're always trashing gold, and we're going to get into this in a second, because they think it's not a good investment and that other assets perform better. Well, I'll give you one example. This guy, Barry Ritholtz, he's always trashing gold. And one time he said, well, I don't really hate gold. I just don't love it. And he says, this is kind of philosophical, perhaps my biggest beef with gold is that it's a bet against human ingenuity. No, it's not. Gold is not a bet against human ingenuity. Gold is a hedge against inevitable human mistakes. Look, if you want to bet on human ingenuity, buy stocks, buy Apple, buy innovative companies that you think through the ingenuity of humans are going to do well and produce a return. They're not mutually exclusive. But gold is not a bet against human ingenuity. It's a bet against human mistakes. And just a quick analogy is, if you take the example that somehow you only bet on human ingenuity, you only bet on human greatness, well, that's the equivalent of not buying car insurance because you don't believe in betting against human fallibility. You just think it's not a good idea to buy car insurance because I want to believe that every driver on the road is good. Now you can see how ridiculous that is. You're not betting. You can't say I don't want to bet against the infallibility of other drivers and their impeccable human foresight and skills not to cause accidents. No, you buy insurance because you know humans are imperfect. That's a fact. And of course, humans can be ingenious. So I don't buy the argument that I think it mixes up too many things to say that gold is a bet against human ingenuity. No, it's insurance against, for want of a better word, human stupidity. Then they try to say, well, gold doesn't pay interest. That doesn't mean that it's not insurance. Most stocks currently today don't pay dividends. They don't pay interest. And the bank doesn't pay you interest. Some charge you to hold their, across the world, some charge you interest to hold their money. Many bonds have negative interest rates. That's a foolish argument too. So I view that gold clearly can be viewed as insurance. Now, homeowners policies and car insurance policies, they don't pay interest, but they're protection against bad outcome, which is what Ben Bernanke, former Fed chairman, he gave before he said something else. He said that the reason people hold gold is to protect against bad outcomes. And when Ron Paul said, well, why do central banks hold it? He said tradition. The answer should have been, we hold it for the same reason other people hold it, because we're worried about bad outcomes. So the time to buy insurance is before disaster strikes, like in the case of the British with Brexit, and it's to protect against known and unknown risk. So human ingenuity may be vast, and human foibles and the capacity to make mistakes are not negated by human ingenuity. Gold isn't ingenious, but it never makes a mistake, and for that reason, gold, I think, is ideal portfolio insurance. Now, is gold an asset or an investment? Well, a lot of the anti-gold crowd, like Warren Buffett, will make arguments that gold is not an investment, it's not a good investment, and his point is, if you take gold, you melt it down into a cube, check back years later, it's still a cube, it's unchanged in size, still incapable of producing anything. You can fondle the cube and it won't respond. I don't have a problem with that. That's exactly what gold is. It's not supposed to produce anything. It is an asset. Investments produce something. Investments produce income. Who said that gold was an investment. Gold is, for some people, money. For other people, like myself, I view it as an asset. I view it as something that's valuable that just is. Yes, it doesn't change. It's immutable. It has some of those money characteristics. It's durable, it's divisible, it's portable, and it provides insurance. So we can define an asset as something you can touch and fondle if you wish and own. Examples of assets to me are gold, silver, real estate, cars, commodities. But most assets depreciate. For example, if you don't take care of certain assets, they will depreciate. Like if you don't take care of your home or you don't fix your car, they're going to depreciate. Car will depreciate no matter what you do, even if you keep it to date. And time will ravage them. Let's think about wheat or corn sitting in a silo. It's not going to maintain its value, so it's going to depreciate over time or rot or go to zero. The difference is gold is an asset. It, using Warren Buffett's criticism, it's going to be unchanged and it's going to sit there, and yes, it's not going to produce any income, but that's because it's not supposed to. And actually, it's foolish to make that argument that it's not going to produce income or it doesn't pay dividends. Okay, well, that's not what it is. It's not what it's supposed to be, and it's not why people own it. They own it, as we've seen already, as insurance. Now, gold and silver don't require any attention. You don't have to maintain gold or silver like you do a house or a car or other assets. And then we hear again from Buffett, true, gold has some industrial and decorative utility, but the demand for these purposes is both limited and incapable of soaking up new production. Which is not true, especially in the case of silver. In fact, in gold, there's many uses where it's just too expensive to use in industry. But for silver, the current price, there's many uses and continually new uses for silver that do soak up new production. So he says, meanwhile, if you own 1 ounce of gold for eternity, you will still own 1 ounce at its end. Yes, that's true. That's exactly why it is a good asset. You're arguing that it's not an investment. No one said it was. You're arguing that it's not as good because it doesn't pay dividends. It doesn't pay interest. It doesn't do anything. Guilty on all charges. It's not. No one ever said it wasn't. Well, the problem is a lot of people do view gold as an investment, and that's where he's right. It's not an investment, and it fails in many instances as an investment. That doesn't mean it's not insurance. That doesn't mean it's not a good investment. Okay, so here's where the problem is. People generally don't expect assets that they buy, like cars, to appreciate in value. As we said, they go down. People get confused, however, when an asset like gold or real estate goes up, then they mistakenly refer to them as investments. And the only reason that real estate's gone up in the last 20, 30 years is because of monetary policy, really, because normally a house is a house and it may maintain its value or go up slightly depending on changes in the neighborhood if you keep it up to date. But the reason that gold and real estate have gone up is because of changes in monetary policy, because they basically are fixed assets. And in the case of real estate, it's a depreciating asset generally because the house could start to fall apart if you don't take care of it. So I've come up with a test here that assets are defined as items you can hold and own, using the words of Buffett, something that itself isn't going to do anything for you. He says it's an entirely different game to buy a lump of something and hope that somebody else pays you more for that lump 2 years from now than it is to buy something you expect to produce income for you over time. That's true. Anyone expecting to make income off their gold doesn't understand what gold is. Now, of course, you can lease gold. We're not going to get into that. The point is, if you have an ounce of gold, you're not going to get any income from it. If you thought you were going to get income from it, I don't even know how you have money to buy an ounce of gold. He's right. All you expect is that your lump of gold can be sold at a future point, either at the same price or higher. Now, investments, in contrast, they have the potential to grow or shrink and pay income in the form of dividends based on whether, this is the human ingenuity part, the owner or manager of the company can create value. Assets like gold and primary residence, like your house, if you own a home, it's not income producing. It's a passive lump of bricks and wood and some metal in it, but it has intrinsic value, while investments are active vehicles that require skillful management. You don't have to do anything with gold to make it worth more money. You don't have to have anybody else do anything to it. It's just going to be, as Warren Buffett says, a lump. It doesn't change, it's immutable. Same with your house. There's nothing you can do to make your house worth more. Except if you make your house into an investment. So here's a distinction. Your primary residence should not be called an investment. It's an asset. It's worth something. It doesn't produce income. It's just like gold in that sense. However, if you have rental properties or you invest in real estate investment trusts, those are investments. So I view the primary residence as an asset. It may go up, it may go down. And you really shouldn't be looking to make money off your house because it doesn't produce income. It's just a lump. You sitting in your house or mowing the lawn, it's not really going to help or hurt. It might hurt if you don't do it. So it's just like gold. It's an asset. Gold is an asset, not an investment. Gold mining shares, totally different thing. That is clearly an investment. Why? You're relying on the skill of the mine owner and its employees to get the gold out of the ground at a good price, to be able to get a good price for the gold at a profit. So there, that is an investment. It may be gold related, but it's an investment, not an asset. Same with silver and silver mining shares. Your primary car that you drive around, that's an asset, not an investment. Taxi, however, is an investment. Or if your car is used as an Uber car, then that might be an investment because you generate income from your car. You own a piece of land. It's been sitting there for 20 years. You don't do anything except pay taxes on it. That's not an investment. That's an asset. But if you have a farm that produces products, whether dairy or wheat or whatever it is you produce on the farm, then that is an investment. So the idea of gold as an asset is very appealing to me versus an investment. If you're going to argue it's an investment, you're going to get creamed by people like Buffett, who will argue that it just sits there. Well, that's fine. If you agree that it's an asset, that doesn't detract from your argument. That actually helps. That's right. It is an asset. But it is a unique and valuable asset, unlike some other assets that depreciate. So you don't expect to make money from owning a car. It's a depreciating asset. You don't expect to make money in general from holding assets. Most assets that you buy because you want to have them. So you buy a radio. That's an asset. You don't make any money off your radio. You buy a television. That's an asset. Unless you're renting it out to people, you don't make any money off your TV. So when you list what assets you have, you look around, you have books, you got tables, furniture, whatever you have, those are assets. If they don't produce income or there's nothing you can do to make them more valuable, they're not investments, they're assets. Now, gold can rise in value, but there's no effort that you can put into your gold to make it rise, except if you make it into jewelry. If you add some human element to it, some human ingenuity, you could take an ounce of gold or half an ounce of gold and craft it into an artistic creation and sell it for 3-4 times the amount of gold. Well, if you do that, that's more of an investment in, not in gold, but in the human shaping of the gold. Similarly, if you make rare coins, you make commemorative coins, you can argue that that gold becomes an investment because you're changing the nature of the gold. It's no longer fungible with other gold. A piece of fancy gold jewelry or a commemorative coin that you craft, you're actually changing the value of the asset, and therefore you're investing your time in the asset. Now, an example of an investment like Buffett's Coca-Cola, that pays dividends. Of course it does. And will appreciate in price, but you can't hold it, so it's not an asset. But if the Coca-Cola management does nothing, the investment will become worthless. If the managers of Coca-Cola say, you know what, it's Coke, people are going to buy it, we're not going to show up to work anymore, eventually there won't be any more Coke, and your shares in Coca-Cola will be worthless. However, if you own a piece of gold as an asset, you do nothing. You just say, I'm going to leave it in the vault somewhere. that's, that's no skin off of gold's value. They don't care whether you pay attention to it or not. It's still, as Warren Buffett says, a lump, an asset. It's not going to change. It'll be there for eternity. So now we get to the question is, now that you've heard the whole rigmarole here about gold, is gold primarily an asset, an investment, insurance, or money? Now, I voted, you only get to vote for one. You guys can vote whatever you want, and I want to hear your comments below. I voted as it is an asset. It is an insurance asset, which is a subset of it, because it's something that you own, and insurance, I view, is just a feature of the asset. As I've mentioned, it is not an investment in my view. It can go up, go down. That's not my definition of investment. And it's not money. Could be, should be, but it isn't. And it fails on one account. It is not a unit of account. It can be a unit of account, but currently it is not. Let me know what you think. Please vote in the poll. I will put these two blog posts up, links to them where you can vote in the poll. I'll even try to get a poll link below. And thanks for listening.